Over-preparing is making you frail. That's why personally, I hate routines. I used to be like that. I used to be big into the self-improvement and optimizing, researching the best, most optimal ways to be healthier, to get things done, over-preparing, getting prepared for the future so that I can be successful and I could be ahead of everybody else. Fuck that shit. Now, personally, I'm just telling you about from my experience. So if it actually does work for you, then that's totally fine. But I'm doing this video more for people who maybe have been pushed, like this narrative has been pushed that you need to optimize, that the most successful people, they have a very strict schedule and, this and that, and you have to be very robotic to be successful. But I honestly found that personally, when I was stuck to a very strict routine, when I was stuck to having to over prepare for the future, I'd be worrying about all this shit. It was supposed to make me more productive, more successful, but really for me, it just ended up causing more problems. I felt like I became way more frail, way more weak. I lost that magical edge, that like fierce edge you have as a guy. That's just your natural ability to adapt and get shit done. Let me give you an example. So typically we're told, hey, sleep is so important. Sleep does this to your testosterone. Sleep does this for you. People that don't sleep die at this age, yada, yada, yada. We all know basically that sleep is important. But I got too much in my head where I'm like, oh my God, I have to get a full 8 to 9 hours of sleep. I mean, as much as possible, optimal sleep. Like I have to go to bed at this time. I can't have any light peeking in through. I can't mess up my REM sleep. And all that would happen is that anytime that an inconvenience would happen and I had a day where, I don't know, maybe I just woke up during the middle of the night and couldn't go back to sleep, the next day I would feel way more tired. And I wouldn't feel way more tired because I was actually exhausted or I hadn't had any, sleep in the last couple of days. It was because in the back of my mind, I'm like, oh my God, my sleep is not optimized. My sleep is not optimized and now I'm going to feel tired. This is what I'm talking about. This frail mindset where obviously in a perfect world, you can sleep as much as you want. But for the average person, that's just not realistic. And these people that are on the podcast and are talking about this all the time, most of them are rich. So yeah, they can afford to have all this technology to get the best sleep possible all the time. But if you really think about it, doesn't that just make you a little frail, a little weak? If your life can't even be interrupted where you lose sleep? What about when you end up having kids when you're older and you can't sleep because the baby wakes up every night guaranteed? And I use the sleep as a very specific example because that's what happened to me. But there's a lot of different things, people that stress way too much about what they eat, about not eating unhealthy, all this stuff that, inherently everyone knows to eat healthy, to not do certain things. But I feel when we start to stress out too much and try to over prepare and over optimize all the time, it's just like going from one box to another box. Like you were too worried about being healthy and being optimal that at the end of the day, you end up stressing yourself a lot more and become less productive. You become, all this stress is probably not good for you. You're also just living in a box. Like imagine having to be optimized for everything and have these things where, oh, my life is going to be the exact same every week. I have this strict routine because it's going to make me successful. And I can't risk messing up my routine because if I do, it won't be successful. A friend just invited me to go out. Oh my God, no, I'm not going to be successful because that's not on my routine. Man, fuck that. The spontaneousness of life. I don't even know if I said that right, but I like when life can be random at times. Is it the most effective at times? No, but guess what? That's what keeps life fun. That's what keeps it spontaneous. I used to watch these people and they would tell you that you needed a routine to be successful. And I'm like, oh, okay, I guess I need a routine to be successful. That shit was so lame because I would wake up and try to do the exact same thing. And then I thought to myself one day, I'm like, wait, so if my life is just going to be a routine to be successful, isn't that just copy and pasting the same thing? For example, 1 week of doing the same thing. You multiply that by 4 and there goes a month. Then you multiply that by 12 and there goes your whole year of doing the same thing. How is that living? At least in my opinion, like for me. Maybe you like doing that and that's perfectly fine. But for me, I did not like that. And I was getting pushed this down my throat like, oh yeah, have a routine if you want to be successful. That shit was so lame to me. Like I do not want to live a copy paste life all the time. I like being spontaneous. I can still be healthy. I can still do my goals. I just have to have certain things that I don't do or certain things that I do. But I trust my intuition now and I see what's best for me. The cool thing about this is that I can just adapt. So bam, something happens that day, cool. We'll do our workout later that night. oh, I'm going to have some shit come up tomorrow. Cool. I'll wake up a little earlier and hit my workout at that point. I don't like where I have to hit my workout at this time every morning because it's the most optimal. And it really made me think as well, like nowadays I feel that we, get all this stuff pushed out, which there's nothing wrong in reality with being or wanting to be healthy and wanting to optimize, it comes from a good place. But, I really sat down and thought, similar to how some of our ancestors live, or even just people like I'm sure you probably know a guy, someone's uncle or someone, especially these construction guys, they technically live on paper a unhealthy lifestyle in terms of like the sleep they get, the kind of foods they do. I mean, they are active all the time, but man, they just have so much energy and they're very resilient and they're not thinking about all this dumb shit that we are thinking about. And it's like, yeah, we're overthinking the most simple of things, but it's the same time like also over preparing. Like when you over prepare is because you're not present. Being present just means that you're here in the moment. So the most important thing is right now, you're just here. You're not worried about the future or the past. And over preparing is the ultimate mental projection of the future. You're thinking about all the things that could be wrong and you try to prepare to make sure that nothing goes wrong. This isn't effective because we do not know what the future holds ever. Like what's going to happen next, we do not know. So your best bet is to be here in the moment and not be too over prepared. Obviously for the basic stuff, have money in the bank, things that are basic, but don't over prepare so much to the point where you're just paranoid and constantly in the future, because the present moment is the place where you can optimize. You can live the most effectively by actually being here in the moment. When you're here in the moment, you can see what's wrong with, not necessarily what's wrong, but what needs to be fixed or what needs to be done at the moment. And that is way more effective because by doing the right things at the moment, naturally prevents all the stuff that could go wrong most of the time. And guess what? Life happens. Shit is sometimes not going to go your way. Things that are unexpected might happen. That's just life. It is random. It's just happening. You know what I mean? So the best way to do is just to be present. You roll with the punches. Like sometimes life can get a little tough sometimes, but just roll with it. Be present here in the moment. And that'll actually create a lot more resilience and not make you as frail of a person as having this optimized schedule where you're living in a box, you're very robotic. If anything goes wrong, your routine is messed up, your morning routine doesn't go the way you have to, and now you feel off the rest of the day. See what I mean? So, obviously, if you like that stuff, that's perfectly fine. Nothing wrong with it. There's just for the people that, have been pushed, this stuff has been pushed down their throats, and, it just doesn't really resonate.